If you're African, this could be the opportunity for you to invest back home for your retirement, or even if you want to make passive income. So it all starts as a dream. We all come to the UK, Canada, America, and so on, and we want to really do ourselves better and also set up things for our families back home. But the problem is, when you start sending money back to Africa, a lot of problems happen. It is misused, a lot of people may scam you, and as a result, you end up being betrayed. But of course, I don't mean that every single one of you has encountered this. Some of you have managed to do all your projects and it has worked fine for you. But for the vast majority, it's been the same story over and over again. It's not only in Zimbabwe, you hear it in Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, and so on. So this problem here is very, very worrying and very dangerous, because what happens is, if you're in the diaspora and you can't trust anyone back home to at least, build you a house or buy you land and so on, what are you left with? Absolutely nothing. So the chances are you're just going to give up, get stressed, depressed, without a way out. So this is why I'm really looking deep into this problem. So there are opportunities where you can invest, but these opportunities oftentimes are lost. In my case, I've lost so many opportunities where I could have made money back home in my country. So what are these opportunities and what are these problems that are happening back home? So the first thing is, before I go into any details, I'd like to give context to this by telling you my story. My first encounter with scammers was in 2012. I purchased a few iPads. I think it was 4 or 6 iPads. And the idea was to sell these back home in my country when I'd gone there on holiday. So I left the UK, went home with these 4 iPads. And I met someone who really looked me in the eye and promised me that he would sell these easily. But you know what? He scammed me, and he actually refused to acknowledge that I'd given him these iPads. I could not believe this, because bear in mind, we live in a country where honesty and integrity is pretty much, the norm. And when this happens to someone who you think you trust, it is very, very painful. So down the line, what happened is I was very distressed. So I thought, let me just, keep quiet for a bit and just forget about it. So I just let it go, because I knew that there's no way I was going to get my iPads back. So over a few years, I saved a bit of money. I was very fortunate to be able to afford to purchase land and also even to purchase, a house. But when this was done, I thought, you know what, this is easy. My confidence came back, and I thought, let me go back and start doing things on the ground. So the first thing was in 2012, as I mentioned, it was the iPad. So I decided to go on the ground and work on the house. So I went there, did a bit of work, and again, I trusted a few people to do all my fittings for me, and it was very devastating. When I went back, in fact, I did a video about it. When I went back to see things at my house, the wrong materials were bought and it looked nice on the photos, but this was really, really a bad job. So again, as you can see, the more we are trusting, the more we're getting scammed. But bear in mind, I didn't say everybody is scammed. Some of you have done your things properly. You have very good family members. It's done. I'm just saying, for the vast majority of us, this is the story over and over again. So when this happened, of course, you get frustrated and you just have to count your losses and continue moving. So what happens now is, I thought to myself, okay, let me just leave that. Went on to the farm. So with the farm situation, some of you that have seen my videos with Wademaya, he came to visit me at the farm. I was doing these Roadrunner chickens. At that time, I thought everything was okay. The moment I stepped away from this project, oh my goodness, I lost all these chickens, every single one of them. And the answer to that was, they all died. So, how do you argue with that? You just have to count your losses and continue. And then it was the borehole and so on and so on. If I could tell you all the stories, you'll get bored, because this is not about me complaining and moaning about all the problems that I've been through. But just bear with me here, because what I'm explaining here is very, very important. So the overall theme of this is, there is a lack of honesty, transparency, and accountability. Now you'll find that this is key to getting anything done the proper way. So one could say, why haven't we found, people to do the right job. Well, this is just the reality of life. So as I was looking into my situation at the farm, I decided to take some time out and really think about what I'm going to do, because I have a retirement to think about. I need to save money and live while I'm on retirement. Yes, I do have a pension, but it's very minimal. Maybe there's a type of lifestyle that I would like to live. So I started looking at projects that were done by people in the diaspora to come together, save money and invest back home. But you know what the problem was? Majority of them failed. And the reason why they failed again was because there was a lack of honesty, transparency, and accountability. And this is very frustrating, because why is it we can't get a group of people to come together, work together for the common goal? So one day I was doing my live show. For those of you that tuned into my previous 2 live shows, you know that we've been doing the first one was 5 hours, the second one was 6 hours. So an idea was born to create a diaspora group, investment group, that could come together and do things right. Based on what? Based on these 3 things: honesty, transparency, and accountability. So this is the key. So that's when this idea was born. At first, I was very scared because, of course, being responsible for people's money is not a small thing. So I decided I was going to step back from it. And then one idea came and I thought I was back in again. But the only problem that I had with this whole idea of setting up a diaspora investment group was I wanted to know if there was a way to secure this money and make sure that no one behind my back could go in and swindle money out of this organization, because this is how the previous ones failed. So I spoke to very experienced people in the financial world and in the accounting world, and they convinced me that this is possible and there's nothing to be scared about. What's needed is just a strong team of people that can make this work. And guess what? I was back, because once I was convinced about this, I knew that I could be a part of this and make it work. So honesty, transparency, and accountability became my theme to make this project move forward. So as you can see, the first area where things are likely to go wrong is with accounting and, of course, the banks, where people can go and get money from the bank easily without the investors knowing. So the first thing that I thought about was, can we have a third-party accounting firm to take care of our business? And sure enough, yes, you can. Can we have third-party audits? Sure enough, yes, we can. So this was when I was all in 100%. So in any investment, as you can imagine, it may all sound so amazing and this is fantastic. Finally, we have a group that seems to be organized and so on. But there's a problem, because a lot of people think that when you invest, definitely you get your returns. Now, that's not the case. There are no guarantees when it comes to investing. No guarantees. And I'm not giving you any guarantees as well. I can't guarantee you that if you put your money in, you're definitely going to get a result in that. Why am I saying this? I want to give you a quick example. Let's say we go into chickens. We build our chicken runs, we buy land as investors, and we get a contract from, let's say, a company like Nando's to supply chickens there. So we buy all the chickens and the chicken runs. Everything is in place. Every single thing you can think about. Biosecurity, we have all the professionals, everything is there. And a disease comes through. Newcastle wipes out all the chickens. Now that's beyond my control. That's beyond anyone's control, because this type of things happen. And your money is gone, and that's the reality. Second example could be we buy land, we prepare the land, we grow all our crops, and there's a drought. The money is gone. So these are the scenarios. Of course, there are so many other scenarios where things can go wrong, and it's nothing to do with the leadership itself per se. But of course, at some point you have to take responsibility. So these are the things that you need to consider when it comes to investing. So yes, no guarantees. I think you've understood that part. What I can guarantee is work, transparency, and integrity. I'm going to build a team around me that has these core values. And this is what we're going to use as the vehicle moving forward. I want to make sure that every single investor has access to the bank accounts where they can go into their portal on the website and see the latest statement. Every single penny that leaves the company to go and purchase something has to be signed for. Or if there's an invoice that needs to be paid, of course, the accounting team will be able to tally that together. I think with that, definitely we'll be able to make this happen. So I would like to do a demo and show you investment opportunities that are in Zimbabwe. I was privileged to speak to the mayor of Nyanga to discuss investment opportunities in Zimbabwe. Investing in Zimbabwe is a fantastic idea, but sometimes it's difficult to find out where these opportunities are. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to the mayor of Nyanga to explore the opportunities and how we can tap into the investment opportunities in Zimbabwe. Good morning, Mayor. Thank you for taking your time to meet with me. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I really appreciate you taking your time out to speak to the diaspora community.
Thanks, Augustine. It's good to be on this platform. My name is Mayor or Chairperson, Councillor Advocate from Nyanga, Ruwa District Council.
So, in your own words, can you tell us certain areas that are lucrative for us to invest in?
Okay, Nyanga is a very exciting place, I must tell you. I think most of people in Zimbabwe are really happy to visit Nyanga because of its obviously geographical location, its weather, and obviously the surrounding excitements that or activities that excites the tourists that side. Nyanga. So if you look at Nyanga, obviously we have other areas of investment that are there, which is agriculture, mining. But broadly, we want to speak about Nyanga as a tourist town, Nyanga as a tourist destination, an area which people can really come and invest their incomes or their investments.
So, what would you say are the key tourist attractions if we were to invest in there? What are the sort of like key tourist attractions and areas of potential growth?
Okay, Nyanga, as you know, we have Nyangani Mountain, which is the highest point in Zimbabwe. You also have our own national park, which have some animals and also actually some waterfalls and some, we talk about the museum, Rose Museum in the national park. But now, outside the Nyanga National Parks and the Nyangani Mountain, we have areas where you can now interface with the weather. We look at areas like Trotbeck, where we've got nice hotels around the lodges, around the Trotbeck, Girasdale side as well. And we look at also activities that are coming up now. We've got farming tourism. People get to interact with how apples, as you know, we are the greatest area where apples are farmed. They interface with the farms and the peaches as well. We have the flowers. We also have the trout fish. Trout fish, as you know, is largely farmed in Nyanga. We also have that area where you can interface with how the process is done and stuff like that. You also get to see that we now have activities around our main falls, waterfalls. We've Mtara's waterfalls, we've got Ngombe waterfalls. In as much as there's a little happening at Ngombe, but we would want people to come now and then construct a fantastic restaurant. We look at some lodges around as well. And we also corroborate the activities happening at which is largely the skywalk. We have got the zip lines, which is also now dotted around Nyanga. If you come to Trotbeck side, such activities are also happening. So I would say areas of potential investment for those who want to come to around the accommodation, which means holiday homes, lodges, the hotels. And in particular, right now, I've been talking to people, encouraging them to look at the opportunity of constructing a beautiful conference center. You know what, Augustine? We are very close to Harare, the capital city of Zimbabwe. Our roads are largely good. Come to Nyanga. We are looking at also the beautiful weather. I must tell you, this is a place where we can find all the 6 climatic regions, region 1, region 2, up to region 6. So there is the variation of the weather in the parts of Nyanga, and people would love that. But now, you see many conferences are happening outside Nyanga because we don't have a facility that can accommodate a huge amount of people. People coming for national addresses, people coming for festivals. We cannot house them in Nyanga. So there's a great opportunity for someone to come and build a 1,000 to 5,000 seat conference center. So that's what we are expecting people to come. We also have, I've spoken about skywalks and zip lines, but we have got big mountains, which we can also do more, the cab trains or something like that, where people can enjoy and interface with the beautiful mountainous place of Nyanga. We don't have people with helicopters that can obviously give that service to where we can have the aerial view of Nyanga looking at the falls. I think it would be very beautiful, looking at the
Mhm.
falls, looking at the high terrains and stuff like that. So apart from the physical infrastructure that can be put, like I've indicated, there are also these activities which people can think and then come and do the investment in Nyanga. But I understand you've got a very huge diaspora in the audience. I must indicate that we have quite a lot of potential as far as having modern, smart, homes which can be used for A and B when people are not around. When people are around, or the family or the owners are around, they can have or use them as haunted homes. You need a setup where when you are in Zimbabwe for your holidays, you are really enjoying yourselves. And when you are no longer in Zimbabwe, you've gone back to work, you can actually still earn some incomes from these homes. Or when you now retire and want to come back to Zim, there is that opportunity again for you to already have a house which is suits a retirement package, free from stress, free from polluted air, enjoying nice water from our mountains, and there you go. So these are some of the things that I think, in terms of the real estate bit, you can do. But also, as a growing town, we are also looking at some infrastructures that we don't have. We are looking at people who can bring a mall where you can actually now have, when we talk about Nyanga, with the majority of people coming from outside our town. So we need those facilities where people can have a nice mall, which can house some fast food outlets, some services like banking, where people can easily withdraw their money and they pay, when they go out to do quad biking and other activities, they will need some cash. So I'm thinking of a very nice mall. So they would want those shops where they can easily buy, those fresh produces, and buying some things like polony, for example. Things like, I remember one friend of mine from Australia who came and said, I want to host some people coming to Nyanga. Where can I buy a nice meat for me to have a barbecue? It was something else. But anyway, my point is we want such a mall that can house our tour. And I believe we can invest in that area.
You mentioned holiday homes. This has really got me very, very excited. So, with these holiday homes, how difficult is it to get the land, first of all? And what is the process? How long does it take?
Well, Nyanga is really open for investors, I must say. And during my tenure, we always want to ensure that we are able to provide ease of doing business in our town. I would say that when you look at things like land, the normal process is the application. You apply that you want land, you give your proposal of what you want to do, and everything is on paper. We then present the papers, obviously, to the committee that deals with the tourism, and also the committee that deals with, depending on the area that you want to apply for. I think I will explain to you areas where we need to look at, but the process goes through a committee in council and then is confirmed by the full council. So it's a very simple process. What needs to be done is people must be ready to make the necessary steps and prove that they've got the ability or the capabilities to do what they want to do. Then, more importantly, I must also indicate that today, as I speak to you, the council has put on tender a holiday, what can I say? It's a hotel stand, which is those who know Nyanga is by Trotbeck 10 off. So there is already a 3,000 so a 3 hectare plot that is available for those who would want to purchase. And then we also have a place in the area so-called John Galt, where we also have a stand there. But to be honest with you, we to refuse investment in our town. If someone say, I have the dollar, I have the money here, what can I do? We create, or we are able to organize as a council ourselves, and then start to obviously implement all the necessary regulation to make sure people can come invest. Properties or stands are available depending with what you wanted to put up in Nyanga. But as I was saying, telling you that you may also need to look at the areas that are very, I would say, are best considered for holiday homes, and also maybe for hotel. We look at the other part of Nyanga town. Those who know Nyanga town, we've got some nice views in under Baby Park, any park, and closer to the Trotbeck 10 off. People are building nice holiday homes. And I tell you, as I sit in councils, I'm seeing people applying for change of land use, because some of them, they bought them as residential and they now want to put a holiday home. So if I see every committee meeting that I set every quarter, I'm having 5 or 6 applications for change of land use. That shows you that people are seeing the business. But we all have the general known ones, the Toadback area and the area. There are also other opportunities that are there which people can invest as far as tourism is concerned. There are people who are looking for joint ventures. There are people who are looking for some partnership for investment into building that. And also, I'm very positive that obviously come up with a plan. There are people who are ready to accept and consider some proposals for a bigger and a greater investment. But I can't stop this conversation without telling you that for the year 2024, we have about 6 new big hotels that have been opened up and for business. That shows you the direction
Wow.
of flow and where we are going. I had a conversation with the national parks recently because that's where we normally receive the count or the number of people who are coming to Nyanga. And I tell you, we are having more than 100% increase from 2022 up to 2024 in terms of the numbers of people who are coming. The last statistics for 2024, we are looking at 17,000 plus people who came during the last quarter of the year to see our beautiful Nyanga. So tell me, when these people are coming, they need accommodation. And I tell you, I've experienced this from people who will be calling me personally, that if you want to come to Nyanga certain seasons, you may not find accommodation. So this is an opportunity where you will build a nice, if you're looking at a group setup, people can build nice hotels. They can build nice lodges. They can build some which can be available for use during the. I'm not trying to remove it during the peak hour because you look here, as we are going, finding investors coming to do conferencing or building some conference units and accommodation, we'll be busy throughout the year, except 1 or 2 months. But ideally, if you're able now to accommodate huge conferences, we'll be busy. And that's what I'm just maybe sharing with you that we are ready and open for some kind of investment. Yeah.
You mentioned that there's a lot of tourists visiting Nyanga. So, out of all these tourists, do you have any rough figures of how many of these are local tourists and how many of these are actually coming into Nyanga from different countries?
I can share some numbers. As of the last quarter of 2024, we had about 3,000 international visitors that were coming from throughout the world, and we also had about 17,000 local tourists that came into our Nyanga Reserve. So, by those statistics, you can see actually this year, last week, I had a meeting with the national parks, and the indications were that there were already around 1,000 international visitors that had come into our national park, and we are looking at about 8,000, between 7,000 visitors that had come to local tourists that had come to our national parks. But remember, I'm only giving you figures from the national parks. There are people who come and they don't go to a national park. There are people who want to read books, people want to enjoy the Mutara Kids services there. They don't need to go to the national parks. There are people who wants to come and they go to Trollbeck for a weekend out. They don't go to the national parks. So I'm just giving you those statistics based on the national parks. But we are trying now to have an information center where we at least try to have a tourist information center where we can even try to even record to see how things are. But from the thirst and the hunger of investment, which we have seen people building in Nyanga and investing in Nyanga, and also complementing with the figures that are getting from national parks, we are on the right page.
Okay, so now let's talk about the price of the land. I mean, in the main capital, Harare, of course, we know that the prices may be higher due to competition. So when we talk about Nyanga, I mean, what sort of pricing are we looking at per square meter?
I must be honest with you, with a broader term of investment. There are people who come and they don't even look at the land at the district council. They will just go and buy land with the title deeds from other players. So when you buy land with the title deed, obviously the price per square meter is different when you
Yes.
compare with the buy sessions or buying land or lease, getting lease from council. But from the council perspective, we are looking at between $4 per square meter to around $15 per square meter, depending whether the nature or the use of the property that you are talking about. If I look at the hotel stand, I was just indicated to you, we are selling at about around, it should be $10 per square meter, between $7 to $10 per square meter. But these things, obviously, like you say, if they go on tender, people will then have the opportunity to make an offer on what they are putting down on the property. But if you're looking at those properties with title deeds in these areas where obviously the pricing will be a bit higher, and we are looking at obviously between $15 to $20 per square meter.
Okay, so as the mayor, of Nyanga. Do you have any incentives for investors?
Okay, maybe I would say if you're investing in tourism, naturally, if you're applying through the authority, you can actually get some investor incentives. I was at the launch of our 2024, which is happening in Manicaland, and I asked the same question. And the minister, madam, clearly indicated that if you are a true investor in tourism, the government is prepared and ready to give you some incentives. As far as obviously you want to bring some equipment, some material, if it's in the tourism sector as granted. As far as council is concerned, these are done through application. You make your application, and I obviously, if the national government is ready to do such incentives, who are we as council to deny you? But obviously, it goes through it's through the processes of an application, and we will consider that.
Our investors are particularly interested in areas where there is strong government support, clear development plans, and opportunities that make real impact. Are there any plans that the government is making to improve Nyanga, for example, or any other tourist areas?
Obviously, there's room for improvement in many respects. But I'm excited to tell you that obviously the coming to Nyanga is a good tarred road. The council is doing it also in last year and also the bit of this year. We have been busy trying to put good roads in our tourist attractions areas, like going to the World's View and also some roads around where our tourists normally interface. There are areas where I feel the government, through us as the lower tier of government, we are improving. Then you also look at issues in Nyanga where there's been always been the willingness of government licensing. People want to bring hydro electricity in our town, and at council level we always get these applications approved up there, and we always give that guidance and the leeway as a local authority. So if we now have already two hydropower stations are operating in Nyanga, and so many applications are coming up, or improvement or upgrading from 5 watt going up. Those are things that clearly shows the intentions of our government to improve our town. But more importantly, as you know, some don't want to drive long to come to Nyanga, and in Maneka land is large. I'm aware, and you might be aware, the government intention to build an airport, which is coming in Mdasa district. That makes everything fantastic, and it will be easier for people then to just fly to Mdasa, and then maybe for 30 minutes or so, they are already having the beautiful views from Nyangani Mountain, beautiful views from the world's view, and interacting with nature at various levels. So those are also the government direct interventions to support our tourist sector. And as I speak to you, as a tourist town, we are now a town to Musanze, which is in Rwanda. That is the indication that the government, through its relationship with Rwanda, they're also trying to push these town agreements where we get to learn what's happening in Rwanda and put it down in Nyanga. And that is a huge step in terms of foreign engagements, plus also building our own Nyanga to become the world-class tourist that we want to be. Attraction. Okay, if the cool weather in Nyanga is not exciting to you, let me now add more. We have got a very thriving timber industry, but we don't have a value addition industry or value addition companies that are set up in Nyanga. We are transporting logs from Nyanga to Harare or everywhere. But why can't you then come, you with your money, you invest in a factory which is going to manufacture the beds or manufacture tables or whatever for the whole nation, or even exporting? Now we have reduced the cost of transporting the raw material, and we are saying if you are able to then come and build that in Nyanga. I've just given you a few examples of things that can be done with the timber, but you guys, I think you know that we have got so much construction happening in the country. Where are people buying those boards for their wardrobes and kitchen? Are we not able to create value and now have those sawdust made into some balls or created to put some balls, and these things are happening and we are simply saying now we have the water and with the power systems that we have in Nyanga, which is quite good. So why can't we then set up that can value to our raw materials, and then we start to go out? Let's talk about our apples that we have in Nyanga. Yes, we have got apple ciders coming up from our own Nyanga, but I'm saying, are they the only byproducts that can come from apples? Why are we not having people who are able to come and then say, okay, you guys have this apples and peas. There's some time where my heart actually was bleeding. We have got so much peaches that we couldn't have people who can then take those peaches and put them into other refined products. So I'm simply saying there are opportunities where we can have use of our local given resources or things that we are producing in Nyanga, where people can then build equipment. Those we are manufacturing, that's an opportunity which they can come and they make our Nyanga great. Then we are able to bring or to increase our GDP as Nyanga, and also you getting a return of investment as an individual. Then I spoke about accommodation, but you also need to consider that people are going to Vic Falls and they're enjoying it. We need such kind of restaurant in Nyanga. We need people who are able to come and say, okay, you guys, I want to build a very, very unique restaurant up there on the mountain or by those falls or by this, because we have such kind of scenic environment. So you are in the catering industry, you want to invest in the catering industry, come. We have the opportunity for you in Nyanga and things will be well with you. I've spoken about mining, which is also another opportunity that you can come in. We've got mining activities happening, especially on the Nyanga north side, where you can actually do your gold mining, and lithium is also on that part of the district. So you can also come in. But I know now people talk about solar energy, and I've told you that Nyanga we've got all the climatic regions, the 5-6 part of it, which is also in the beautiful side of Nyanga North. Come and set up a solar plant and give us the energy. So this is the opportunity that we have.
Mayor, thank you so much for taking your time out to speak to us and the diaspora community. I truly appreciate your insights. I look forward to seeing how we can build something that benefits both Nyanga and also our investors. As you can see, these are serious opportunities that we can do in Zimbabwe. Serious opportunities. So the question is why? Why should you invest? Now, you see, as you saw, and as I've shared, I've tried to do things myself. With the farming, I tried to go there, become the farmer, become the security person. I mean, I was just learning on the go, but this can be very, very expensive. It can be very, very expensive, especially when things start going wrong. So the chances are, if you go at it alone, you're going to fail. I'm not saying every single time. So if you go in as a group, there is power in numbers. There is power in numbers. This is why investments are very important. So basically, you're spreading the risks. And if you're working as part of a complete structure as an investment company, then you have a team of professionals. So therefore, you are minimizing the risk of any of your investments going wrong. And this is why it is very, very important. Now, I want to share a few things again with you. And to me, I find this fascinating. To date, it has been only 7 days. 7 days to date. And we've already gotten a lot of things done. The amount of feedback we're getting is phenomenal. And I mean, we're just moving really fast. Now, I know some of you want to know how the company is going to be structured, how is it going to work. So I want to take this opportunity to go through this. So here's the corporate governance. The holding company is going to be a company based in the United Kingdom. We are going to base this company in the United Kingdom, and the structure is as follows. We're going to have a CEO, board members, CFO, secretary, and the chief information officer. So this is on the UK side. We're going to register it. I mean, everything will be transparent through the company's house and the bank accounts. Everyone will have, pretty much access to the bank statements. And also, when it comes to the signatories, it's not going to be just me. Okay, I'm going to have maybe 2 others to become signatories when we set this up. So this is a proper structure. There's nothing new that we're inventing here. This is how it's done by any other investment company. This is the structure that we're going to have. Now, because we're investing in Zimbabwe, we also need to have a subsidiary of companies over there. And this is how it's going to look. So again, we have our subsidiary company here in Zimbabwe, the CEO, the board members, and then on the other side now we're going to have an accountant, the secretary, human resources. So that's going to be the team over there. But remember, the accountant over there, as I mentioned, we're going to be using external companies for auditing, accounting, and so on. And as we grow, I mean, we're going to be even more and more sophisticated in terms of making sure that our vehicle that we're trying to build here is very, very strong. So now, where it gets very interesting are the areas that we are going to be going into. So there's real estate, tourism, agriculture, energy, and I think we might also add health. There's a lot of people, especially Zimbabweans, that have really done well in the health sector. So this is something as well that we're going to be adding here. So in the real estate space, there's going to be companies in there. Perhaps maybe we are doing a project, let's say for Nyanga. We purchase land and we build holiday homes there. That will be a business registered, which will be under the real estate. And then tourism will have something else as well. In agriculture, we'll probably have another project in there, a farm. Maybe we're growing crops, and then we're also, rearing chickens and so on. Energy, perhaps maybe we are creating solar farms and so on. So it is pretty much vast, but it is going to be decided what we're going to go into based on our polls that we're going to do and also the stats, but the final stage of decision making will be with the board. Now, I want to show you something very interesting. Remember, I said this was 7 days. Now, when we take a look at our stats here, we see that when we ask the question, what is your biggest worry about investing back home? The biggest fear here is transparency and accountability. Now, it may seem crazy, but this poll came later on. But I had already done my research to look at the companies, why the previous companies that have tried to do this failed. It was due to a lack of transparency and accountability. So no one knew what was happening. And before they knew it, boom, they left. So this is the biggest fear. Politically and regulatory risks, of course. And then there's currency, instability, management trustworthiness, market demand, and fluctuation. Now, when it comes to management worthiness, this is where, if this is legal, I'm not a legal guy and I wouldn't know how this works, but how I would like this is to have in our constitution that if anyone is involved in any sort of money issues, bribery, and that kind of stuff, then that person should be pretty much asked to leave and lose their money. Hopefully I can do that. And then add this as one of the core rules that we have in this vehicle that we're trying to build. This is how serious I am with this company, because I know that this is where things start going wrong. So if we can really pinpoint all these areas and really make sure that they are locked down, then I think we'll be in a very good position. So moving on, another question that we asked was, what is your preferred investment timeline? So as you can see here, it's long term, 5 years plus. That's 35%. A little over 34% was in the middle. So as you can see, this is really, really exciting because the people are really thinking about their retirement, how they want to live in their retirement. This will be fantastic because you're going to end up with a holiday home or a lot of passive income coming through from what you're investing today. So it's always very good to see that this is how people are thinking. Okay, so let's move on. And the next question was, which sectors are you interested in? Choose up to 2. So we can see here agriculture was really high, real estate, renewable energy, tourism, and so on. So again, farming and agriculture was quite high there. Moving on, what's your risk appetite? So you can see here moderate risk was above 50%, which again is really, really good. So we're going to be using these stats to guide us as we make our decisions as a board. Moving forward, which amount can you afford for this investment? Clearly, without a doubt, 70% are between the 500 and the 5,000 mark. Again, this is very, very encouraging. Okay, so moving on, which profit sharing model would you prefer? So majority, 44%, in fact, 53% was hybrid or mix of dividends and capital growth, which is fantastic. Dividend payout, that was 34%, revenue sharing, 9%, capital gains 2.4%. So as you can see, we are going to be using data as we are going through all of this. Finally, the question was asked, can you commit to investing in the next 90 to 180 days? Look at how many what percent we have, close to 80%. So this is really, really, really amazing. So I'm very excited about all this. In the live stream, we had a lot of questions asked and we were able to respond to them. And pretty much I'm confident that this is going to be really, really amazing. So when it comes to the timelines, let's take a look at this. So week 1, week 2, we are going to incorporate the holding company, draft the MMAs, shareholders agreement, and then week 3 and 4, register Zim subsidiaries via ZIDA and secure RBZ approvals. Week 5 and 6, execute intercompany agreements, and then the appointment of boards. And then pretty much it's going to be ongoing from there. So as you can see, there's a plan behind the scenes, and it's very important that you understand where we're going with this. Now, I want to really express something very, very important here. I'm not going into this as something that is motivated by money. I'm more motivated by making this project or this business or this investment vehicle work. And my dream is to see this as the blueprint of anyone who wants to follow us and follow this blueprint. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because a lot of them have failed. I want this to be the one that survives, but surviving on those 3 factors: honesty, integrity, and accountability. These are the 3 things that I'm really looking at, and these are going to be the core principles we're going to be operating with as we move with this company. The next thing I also want to say is, and I'm not just saying this for the video, and I want you to reference this if you become an investor. If there is something that you think is not right or that I'm doing wrong, I want to give you the opportunity to point it out without me trying to hide or whatever. Point it out directly, because you are the investor. I know how painful it is to work. Sometimes even to save £100 is very difficult. I've been through this journey. I know how hard it is. I know how painful it is. And my heart does not allow me to take what you've worked for very, very hard and sleep well at night. Even more crazy, I wouldn't want my name to affect even the future of my children. Can you imagine everyone associating our surname with, oh, your dad was part of that company that did this. So I'm very passionate about this, and I am going to work with a team, a board of people, a board of members who also carry the same vision that I have. And that is to make sure that everyone who invests here is investing in their future, and we make that future possible. Now, to get to this stage in 7 days and achieve what we've achieved, a lot of work has been done behind the scenes. And I want to thank Costa. I mean, I've given him a headache. Sometimes would sleep at 4 in the morning. I'm trying to understand how things work and so on. Amos, again, I've given him a lot of tasks last minute because things are really moving fast. He's really, really, really helped a lot. Captain, we have our captain, our young man who's a captain in Florida. Again, very, very instrumental. Farai, wow, Farai really stepped up because, there was a lot of work that needed to be done, and he basically knows the finance side, very experienced, and really helped me out to understand how things are put together. But most importantly, it's you. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So your support, your encouragement has really made this happen. And I pray that this is going to be something that we can all be proud of, something that our children and our grandchildren can inherit and keep moving forward. So I want to thank you very much. And one last thing, whatever religion you're from, whether you're Jew, Muslim, Christian, I want you to pray that this becomes successful, that this becomes something that we are all proud of. So thank you so much. Go ahead to ruwaorganic.com, fill in the poll, give us an idea of, what you'd like so that it can help us make decisions when it's time to sit with the board and start making decisions. So go to ruwaorganic.com. I'll leave the link to that in the video description below, and also join the WhatsApp group because that's where all the action is going. So go over there, ask your questions, and also interact with others. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you're going to be part of this investment company. Thank you very much for watching.